Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, then with Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, anybody would like to sing our prayers today? Shri Mata, you want to try today?
Yes, Prabhu. Sorry, I was on mute. I'll try the first 5 verses.
Haribol, yes.
शात्रुचेदैकमन्त्रं सकलमुपनिषद्वाक्यसम्पूज्य मन्त्रं संसारोचेदमन्त्रं समुचिततमस सङ्गनिर्याणमन्त्रं सर्वैश्वर्यैकमन्त्रं व्यसनभुजगसन्दस्तसन्त्राणमन्त्रं जिह्वे श्रीकृष्णमन्त्रं जप जप सततं जन्मसाफल्यमन्त्रम् व्यामोहाप्रशमौषधं मुनिमनो वृत्तिप्रवृत्ति औषधं दैतेन्द्रार्तिकरौषधं त्रिभुवने सञ्जीवनैकौषधं भक्त्या यन्तहितौषधं भवभय प्रध्वंसनैकौषधं श्रेयप्राप्तिकरौषधं विभमनः श्रीकृष्णदिव्यौषधम् कृष्णात्वदीयपदपङ्कजपञ्जरान्तम् अद्यैव मे विशतु मानसराजहंस प्राणप्रयाणसमये कफवातपित्ते कण्ठावरोधनविधौ स्मरणं कुतस्ते चेतस चेतस चेतसचिन्तयो कीर्तयस्य रसने नम्रीभौ त्वं शिरो. Prabhu, can you help me with the first line?
Yes. Chetas Chintaya Kirtaya
कीर्तयस्य रसने नम्रीभौ त्वं शिरो हस्तवञ्जलिसम्पुतं रचयतं वन्दस्व दीर्घं वपु आत्मन् संशयपुण्डरीकनयनं नागजलेन्द्रस्थितं तन्यं पुण्यतं तदेव परमं दैवं हि सत्सिद्धये श्रीन्वञ्जनार्दनकथागुणकीर्तनानि देहेन यस्य पुलकोद्गमरोमराजी नूतपद्यते नयनोर्विपलाम्बुमाला तिक्तस्य जीवितमहो पुरुषाधमस्य हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anybody else would like to try? Last 5. Okay, I'll sing then. Andhasya me hritavivekamahadanasya Chaurai prabhu balibhirindriyanamadeyahi मोहान्धकूपकुहरे विनिपातितस्य देवेश देहि कृपणास्य करावलम्बम् इदं शरीरं शतसन्धिजर्जरं पतत्यवश्यं परिणामपेशलं किम् औषधं पृच्छसि मूढदुर्मते निरामयं कृष्णरसायनं पिब आश्चर्यमेतद्धि मनुष्यलोके सुधां परित्यज्य विषं पिबन्ति नामानि नारायणगोचराणि त्यक्त्वान्यवाचः कुहकः पठन्ति त्यजन्तु बान्धवाः सर्वे निन्दन्तु गुरो जनः तथापि परमानन्दो गोविन्दो मम जीवनम् सत्यं ब्रवीमि मनुजः स्वयमूर्ध्वबाहुर्यो यो मुकुन्द नरसिंह जनार्दनेति जीवो जपत्यनुदिनं मरणे रणे वा पाषाणकाष्ठसदृश यददात्यभीष्टम् श्री कुंदवार स्तोत्र की जय। श्री कुलशेखर आलवार की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Anybody would like to read the translations for 31 to 40?
Yeah, I can read from
Yes, go ahead.
31, right?
Yes, 31 to 40.
Okay. Or tongue, please constantly chant the mantra composed of Sri Krishna's names. This is only the mantra for destroying all enemies. The mantra worshipped be every word of the Upanishads. The mantra that uproots samsara, the mantra that drives away all the darkness of ignorance, the mantra for attaining infinite opulence, the mantra for curing those bitten by the poisonous snake of worldly distress, and the mantra for making one's birth in this world successful. O mind, please drink the transcendental medicine of Sri Krishna's glories. It is the perfect medicine for curing the disease of bewilderment, for inspiring sages to engage their minds in meditation, and for tormenting the mighty Daitya demons. It alone is the medicine for restoring the three worlds to life and for bestowing unlimited blessings on the Supreme Lord's devotees. Indeed, it is the only medicine that can destroy one's fear of material existence and lead one to the attainment to the Supreme Good. O Lord Krishna, at this moment, let the royal swan of my mind enter the tangled stems of the lotus of your feet. How will it be possible for me to remember you at the time of death, when my throat will be choked of the mucus, bile, and air? O mind, think of the lotus-eyed Lord who reclines on the mountain like serpent Ananta. O tongue, glorify him. O head, bow down to him. O hand, join your palms in supplication to him. O body, offer outstretched obeisance to him. O heart, take full shelter of him. That Supreme Lord is the topmost deity. It is He alone who is all auspicious and supremely purifying. He alone who awards eternal perfection. One who hears the description of Lord Janardhan's pastimes and glorious qualities, but whose bodily hair fades to bristle in ecstasy, and those eyes fail to flood with tears of pure love. Such a person is indeed the most degraded rascal. What a condemned life he leads. Oh Lord, the powerful thieves of my senses had blinded me by stealing my most precious possession, my discrimination, and they have thrown me deep in the pitch dark well of delusion. Please, O Lord of Lords, extend your hand and save this wretched soul. This body's beauty is fleeting, and at last the body must succumb to death after its hundreds of joints have stiffened with the old age. So why, bewildered fool, are you asking for the medication? Just take Krishna elixir, the one cure that never fails. The greatest wonder in human society is this: people are so incorrigible that they reject the life-giving nectar of Lord Narayan's names and instead drink poison by speaking everything else. Let my relatives all abandon me and my superiors condemn me. Still, supremely blissful Govinda remains my life and soul. O mankind, with arms raised high, I declare the truth. Any mortal who chants the names Mukunda, Narasimha, and Janardana day after day, even in a battle or when facing death, will come to regard his most cherished ambition as no more valuable than a stone or a block of wood. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Narayan Prabhu and Shriya Mataji. Okay. Here, Shikrala is talking about hundreds of joints. Yesterday, we were seeing Srila Prabhupada was mentioning to the devotees and the Bavari who were coming to see him that they have to utilize, they have to dovetail, which is also another kind of a joint, when you join two things together in the form of a dovetail. So he was he was mentioning to them about dovetailing their consciousness, our consciousness. We are individual consciousness. We have to dovetail our consciousness with the supreme consciousness. That means we have to align ourselves with the instructions of the Lord, the instructions of our gurus, and then we can make our life perfect. So, yeah. So we are continuing to read from chapter 17. We are reading here. Okay. I can continue today. He isn't suggesting that to dovetail with the Supreme Consciousness, they will have to fight. They will have to go fight in Vietnam or perform some other horrible act on behalf of God. He knows that spiritual life will have to be more attractive than material life, or his audience will never take to it. He wants to bring the theme of dovetailing with the Supreme Consciousness down to something practical, something all attractive and beautiful, something anyone could do and would want to do. He wants to encourage them by saying that they can do their own thing, but for Krishna. Arjuna, after all, was a lifetime warrior. Krishna didn't ask him to give up his work, but to do it for the Supreme. So Prabhupada is asking the same of his audience, and they can begin with something as simple as offering their food to God. Because everyone has to eat, so God wants to eat something. Why don't you first offer your food to God? Then you eat. But you may say, but if God takes it away, then how shall I eat? No, God will not take it. Daily, after preparing our foodstuffs, we are offering to Krishna. There is a witness. Mr. David has seen. Prabhupada laughs. God eats, but his spiritual eating is such that even after his eating, the whole thing is still there. So we shall not offer a pinch. So we shall not suffer a pinch if we dovetail our desires with the Supreme Lord. We simply have to learn the art, how to dovetail. Nothing has to be changed. The fighting man did not change into an artist or a musician. If you are a fighting man, you remain a fighting man. If you are a musician, you remain a musician. If you are a medical man, you remain a medical man. Whatever you are, you remain, but dovetail it. If by my eating the Lord is satisfied, then that is my perfection. If by my fighting the Lord is satisfied, then that is my perfection. So, in every sphere of life, we have to know whether the Lord is satisfied. That technique we have to learn. Then it is as easy as anything. We have to stop creating our own plans and thoughts and take the perfect plans from the Supreme Lord and execute them. That will become the perfection of our life. And Lord Chaitanya has made acting on the platform of consciousness very easy. Just as there are some note makers of school books, easy study, so Lord Chaitanya has recommended that you be engaged in whatever occupation, but just hear about Krishna. Continue to hear the Bhagavad Gita and chant Hare Krishna. It is for this that we are trying to organize this institution. So you have come, and whatever work you do, it doesn't matter. Everything will be adjusted by and by as our mind becomes clear simply by hearing. If you continue this process, chanting the Krishna name, you will practically see how much your heart is becoming clear and how much you are making progress towards spiritual realization. the real identity of pure consciousness. Prabhupada is speaking on behalf of the Supreme Consciousness, and he offers his day to day activities as an example of dovetailing with the Supreme. I'm here always working at something, reading or writing, something, reading or writing, 24 hours. Simply, when I feel hungry, I take some food. And simply, when I feel sleepy, I go to bed. Otherwise, I don't feel fatigued. You can ask Mr. David whether I'm not doing this. Of course, the Swami's daily routine doesn't require certification from David Allen, and any of his regular visitors can see that he is transcendental. His personal life is a perfect example of dovetailing with the Supreme Consciousness. Prabhupada has always kept himself dovetailed with the Supreme. He had been perfectly dovetailed in Vrindavan also, and had no personal need or motive to come to America and live on the Bowery. It was for others' sake that he came to the Bowery, and it is for others' benefit that he is speaking tonight. His spiritual master and Lord Krishna want the conditioned souls to come out of their illusion before it is too late. Speaking vigorously, even until he becomes physically exhausted, sometimes shouting, sometimes pleading, sometimes laughing. He gives his audience as much as he feels they can take. As the emissary of Krishna and the disciplic succession, he can boldly shout that everyone should dovetail with the Supreme. He can speak as strongly as he likes for as long as they are willing to listen. He is a sadhu. The Sanskrit word means saint and one who cuts. And he repeats the same message that for thousands of years sadhus of the original Vedic culture have spoken. He is reviving the eternal spirit of the Vedic wisdom to cut the knots of ignorance and illusion. So everything is illusion from the beginning of our birth, and that illusion is so strong it is very difficult to get out of. The whole thing is illusion. Birth is illusion. The body is illusion. The bodily relationship and the country are illusion. The father is illusion. The mother is illusion. The wife is illusion. The children are illusion. Everything is illusion. And we are contacting that illusion thinking we are very learned, advanced. We are imagining so many things, but as soon as death comes, the actual fact, then we forget everything. We forget our country, we forget our relatives, we forget our wife, children, father, mother, everything is gone. Mike Grant. I went up to him afterward. I had the same feeling I've had on other occasions when I had been to hear famous people in the concerts. I was always interested in going by after concerts to see musicians and singers just to meet them and see what they were like. I had a similar feeling after Swamiji spoke, so I went up and started talking. But the experience was different from the others in that he wasn't in a hurry. He could talk with me, whereas with others, all you could do was get in a few words. They were always more interested in something else. But he was a person who was actually showing some interest in me as a person, and I was so overwhelmed that I ran out of things to say very quickly. I was surprised. Our meeting broke off on the basis of my not having anything further to say. It was just the opposite of so many other experiences, where some performer would be hurrying off to do something else. This time, I was the one who couldn't continue. Prabhupada liked to take walks. From his doorstep at 94 Bowery, he would see directly across the street the Fulton Hotel, a five-story flop house. Surrounding him were the other Surrounding him were other lower Manhattan lodging houses, whose tenants wandered the sidewalks from early morning till dark. An occasional flock of pigeons would stir and fly from one rooftop to the next, or descend to the street. Traffic was heavy. The Bowery was part of a truck route to and from Brooklyn by the way of Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges. The Bowery sloped gently downhill toward the north, and Prabhupada could see signboards, a few scraggly Manhattan trees, and the street lights and traffic signals as far up as 4th Street. He could see Con Edison with its prominent clock tower, and if there were no clouds, the top of the Empire State Building on 34th Street. He would walk alone in the morning through the Bowery neighborhood. The month of May that year saw more frequent rains than was normal, and Prabhupada carried an umbrella. Sometimes he walked in the rain. He was not always alone. Sometimes he walked with one of his new friends and talked. Sometimes he shopped. Bitter melon, dal, hing, chickpea, flour, and other specialty foods common in Indian vegetarian cuisine were available in Chinatown's nearby markets. On leaving the loft, he would walk south a few steps to the corner of Bowery and Hester Street Turning right on Hester, he would immediately be in Chinatown, where the shops, markets, and even the Manhattan Savings Bank were identified by signs lettered in Chinese. Sometimes he would walk 1 block further south to Canal Street, where it says Central Asian Food Market and many other street side fruit and vegetable markets. In the early morning, the sidewalks were almost deserted, but as the shops began to open for business, the streets became crowded with local workers, shopkeepers, tourists, and aimless derelicts. The winding side streets of Chinatown were lined with hundreds of small stores, and parked cars lined both sides of the street. His walks on Hester would sometimes take him into Little Italy, which overlaps Chinatown at Mulberry Street. In this neighborhood, places like Chinese pork products and the Mi Jung Mi supermarket stood alongside Umberto's Clam House and the Puglia restaurant, advertising cappuccino alla Puglia, coffee from Puglia. His walk his walks west of Bowery into Chinatown and Little Italy were mainly for shopping, but he also noted prospective sites for a temple. Chatham Tower on Chatham Square particularly drew his attention. Sometimes he would walk in the opposite direction as far as the East River and Brooklyn Bridge, but when a friend warned him that a sniper had been firing at strollers along the river, he stopped going there. Despite the bad neighborhood where Prabhupada lived and walked, he was rarely disturbed. Often he would find several Bowery bums asleep or unconscious at his door, and he would have to step over them. Sometimes a drunk, simply out of his inability to maneuver, would bump into him, or a derelict would mutter something unintelligible or laugh at him. The more sober ones would stand and gesture courteously, ushering the Swami into or out of his door at 94 Bowery. He would pass among them, acknowledging their good manners as they cleared his path. Certainly, few of the Bowery men and others who saw him on his walks knew much about the small, elderly Indian sadhu, dressed in saffron and carrying an umbrella and a brown grocery sack. Sometimes Prabhupada would meet one of his new friends on the street. Jan, Michael Grant's girlfriend, met him on several occasions as he was out walking. Jan, I would see him in the midst of this potpourri of people down there, walking down the street. He always had an umbrella, and he would always have such a serene look on his face. He would just be taking his afternoon jaunts, walking along, sometimes stepping over the drunks, and I would always get sort of nervous when I would meet him on the sidewalk. He would say, "Are you chanting?" And I would say, "Sometimes." And then he would say, "That's a good girl." Sitting cross-legged, his back to the shelf with his assortment of potted plants, a whitish chadar wrapped in wide, loose folds across his body, Prabhupada looked grave, almost sorrowful. The picture and an accompanying article appeared in a June issue of the Village Voice. The article read, "The meeting of the mystical West and practical East comes alive in the curious contrast between A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami and his American disciples. The Swami, a cultivated man of 70 with a distinguished education, is here for a year to preach his gospel of peace, goodwill, nearness to God, and more practically to raise money for his American church. Like his teachings, the Swami is sensible and direct. His main teaching is that mankind may come closer to God by reciting his holy name. Despite the fact that the Swami came to America to seek out the root of godless materialism, a disease, he said, that has already enveloped India, he is a realistic man. If there is any place on earth with money to build a temple, it is here. The Swami wishes to found in America an international society for Krishna consciousness, which will be open for anyone, including women. The article had been written by Howard Smith. He had first heard of the Swami by a phone call from a contact who had told him of an interesting holy man from India living in a loft in the Bowery. "Go there any time," Howard's contact had told him. "He's always there. I think you will find it fascinating. I believe he is about to start a major religious movement." Howard Smith. So I went down there and went upstairs into this very funky artist's loft. There were carpets all over the place, old and worn out, and a lot of people sitting around in various kinds of hippie garb, plus what I think they must have thought was Indian garb. Most of them were sitting alone around the room facing the wall, like they had nothing to do with each other. They were sitting cross legged, and each one seemed to be doing something different. Nobody paid any attention to me when I walked in. I saw shoes lined up, and I thought maybe I'm supposed to take off my shoes. But nobody said anything to me, so I walked around the edge of the carpet, looking for somebody to pay attention to me. I wondered what was going on, and I didn't want to interrupt anybody because they all seemed deep into whatever kind of prayers they were doing. In the back of the loft, I noticed a little curtain, an Indian Madras type of curtain, and so I decided I'd peer into that area. I I looked in, and there was Swami Bhaktivedanta sitting there cross-legged in saffron garments with the markings on his forehead and nose and his hand in the bead bag. Even though he looked like the real thing, he seemed more approachable. And I said, "Hello," and he looked up. I said, "Swami Bhaktivedanta?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "I'm Howard Smith." I was expecting to sit down, so I said, "Excuse me, I have to take off my shoes." And he said, "Why do you want to take off your shoes?" I said, "I don't know. I saw all the shoes out there." And he said, "I didn't ask you to take your shoes off." I said, "What are all these people out there doing?" And he said, "I don't know. And they don't know what they are doing. And I'm trying to teach them. And they seem to be misunderstanding me. They are very confused people." Then we sat and talked. And I liked him a lot right away. I mean, I'd met a lot of other Swamis and I didn't like them too much. And I don't think it's fair to lump them all together and say, those Swamis in India, because he was very, very basic. And that's what I seemed to like about him. He not only made me feel at ease, but he seemed very open and honest. Like he asked my advice on things. He was very new in the country. I thought his ideas stood a good chance of taking hold because he seemed so practical. His head didn't seem in the clouds. He wasn't talking mysticism every third word. I guess that is where his soul was at. But that isn't where his normal conversational consciousness was at. Then he said, several people had told him that the voice would be a very good place to be written up, and that basically it would reach the kind of people who already perhaps had a learning or interest in what he was preaching. And I said that I thought he was correct. He asked me if I had read any books or knew anything about Indian culture, and I said no, I didn't really. We talked a little, and he explained to me that he had these books in English that he had already translated in India, and he handed those to me and said, "If you want more background, you can read these." It was obvious to me that I was not talking to some fellow who had just decided that he had seen God and was going to tell people about it. He seemed to be an educated man, much more than myself actually, and I liked his humbleness. I just plain liked the guy. He explained everything I wanted to know. The significance of what he was wearing, the mark on his forehead, the bead bag, and I liked all his explanations. Everything was very practical. Then he talked about temples all over the world and he said, "Well, we have got a long way to go, but I am very patient." Hare Krishna. Sorry, we went a little long today. Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody would like to share anything from today's reading?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. It was again a beautiful reading where Prabhupada initially, when we started reading, was emphasizing on Yukta Vairagya, which was mentioned so simply that we need to dovetail each and everything we do in our life. And we see as practicing sadhakas that when we start doing it, it is really very joyful. You start feeling that satisfaction, inner satisfaction, when you actually do everything and you say to yourself in the beginning, you start like that I'm doing it for Krishna, and it gives an immense happiness, which is the spiritual happiness. We don't get it when we do other material things. So a very simple yet very very powerful way to connect to Krishna by reminding ourselves that whatever we are doing throughout our day, we are doing it for Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. That was my reflection from today. Hare Krishna. I also wanted to extend invitation to everybody here on the call for today evening. We are celebrating our Guru Maharaj's first Tirobhav Tithi. So if possible, I humbly request everyone to please come and join the festival. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Hari Bol.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything?
Yeah, thank you, Meenakshi Mataji, for inviting. And yeah, the good thing that what she mentioned is like whatever you do throughout the day, our conscious will be, on divine conscious, like Krishna conscious. In that mode, we have to work. Then it becomes seva. Like there was one sloka I was going through yesterday in our online session. Like we have three karmas: sanchit karma, prarabdha karma, and next is agami karma, like which we are accumulating now in this current life.
So whenever our karma is already past, we don't know what we did, but what we are doing right now, right? At least if we'll do in the conscious of the Krishna, then at least we can prevent a lot of things. So that conscious mode, any actions, any service, either in office or at home, whatever we do, if that will be done in that mode, then it will become a bhakti. So that's what I heard, like Srila Prabhupada has been doing same to-do list, what we have to-do list for the day or for the month, for the year. But in which conscious we are doing, that is important. That's what my 2 cents.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. And when we take to Krishna consciousness, then Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right, that he will take care of everything. So your sanchit karma and your prarabdha, of course, is or something you're going through, but your sanchit karma is all the go downs of bad sinful activities that we have done, which will require us to suffer those reactions. But those are eradicated completely when we take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, when we take shelter of the holy names of the Lord. So that is taken care of. Prarabdha also Krishna arranges. We see so many times, there will be such more like bigger calamities or distress that we may have to face, but एक छोटी सी विपदा आके वो निकल जाता है with small problem that we get. Maybe instead of our feet getting cut, maybe we may get a small scratch on our hand, right? Instead of we going through a major accident, maybe we may just get a small scratch, and we may get out of that situation. So Krishna takes care of his devotees. And then, of course, as we are acting in devotional service now, then our agami, our future karma is also taken care of, because we are always acting in the process of bhakti. So there is no good, no bad, because like Prabhupada was explaining yesterday, good is also, both good and bad are not good. We have to get to the level of transcendence, where we transcend good and bad. Then we get out of the cycle of birth and death. Otherwise, good karmas will lead us up the planetary systems, and bad karmas will lead us down to the hellish planetary systems. But the goal is not to go to heaven or to hell, but to transcend out of this material universe and get out of the cycle of birth and death and go back home, back to Godhead, to serve the Lord and to serve his pure devotees eternally.
Correct,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Yeah.
Correct. That Gita chapter 9.9, what is that chapter? Like Helios planet and heavenly planet, and again come back to earth. So that is a good sloka, I don't remember the sloka number, chapter 9, I know. 9 point, like the material nature's next destiny.
Yes. All right. Meenu Mataji, did you have anything to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just the beginning of the read today, when he's talking about dovetailing and offering the food, he's trying to get these people to how to connect their material activities to spiritual activities. I kind of thought of couple shlokas from Gita, 6.1, where he talks about anashrita karam phalam, that you do the karam, but don't be dependent on the phal, right? So that's what he's trying to teach them, and he's leading by example. And then in 5.11 also he says, Kaina mansa buddhya kevalare indriyapi. He's saying the yogis abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with senses. And that's exactly what Prabhupada is bringing to life. These words he's bringing to life in front of all of us and in front of all the hippies at that time, and how he transforms their life through exemplifying through his actions and deeds is beyond my my thought process. Actually, it is amazing. So that's the thoughts I had. Sorry, Prabhuji.
Very nice for connecting with Bhagavad Gita. Yes. Yeah, whatever occupational duty that we may have, yeah, we can always engage in the service of the Lord. And he's trying to make it so practical. It's coming down to the basic necessities of life, right? Yeah, whatever you eat, offer it to the Lord. Whatever is kya hum bolte, roti, kapda, makan, everything you offer to the Lord, right? At least those are the basic essential needs that we have. Right? Our home we consider as the temple of the Lord, saying that you are the owner of my Lord. I'm just a tenant here. If that is the mood, then we realize that this whole life that we are also we are just paying our dues right now as a tenant in this body, because this body is also the temple of the Lord. So at very very practical application, I think he's teaching them, so they are able to connect. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
14.18, Prabhuji. Just I saw that. What you said. 14.18. 1.8.
Thank you, Nana Prabhu. Okay. Anything else? Anandani Gopika Mataji, anything you'd like to share? No, she may be
Yeah,
busy.
nothing
Yeah.
to do, just very nice realizations from everyone, the dovetailing, and just I think slowly with the dovetailing, our this is the way to minimize our material desires, to spiritualize our desires, is by dovetailing. And, personally, for me, it is not very easy, of course. And I just try to remind every day that this what I am doing can be offered to Krishna. So yeah, just individual struggles, but with the help of association, your association, everyone's association in the morning, it sets off the day right. And thank you so much for the invitation. I am very unfortunate I won't be able to come. I am working. But if you are doing something on the Zoom, Prabhu, if you can share the link, I'd love to listen from the hospital.
Sure, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are in a very important profession. You are not just a doctor of the body, but doctor of the soul, both you and Prabhuji. So yeah, you're already doing your bit and bringing all these souls and curing them, not just bodily, but also their souls. So thank you. Your car reminds me always you are a soul. Whenever I forget when I see your car number, hardly I remember you are a soul.
Have you heard the joke? What
What?
I about my number plate?
No.
I can share with everyone. It's really, I never thought about it. So I stopped at a traffic light, and one of these big pickup trucks person came and said, "Hey, I really liked your number plate." So I was like, "Oh, this is the first time someone has said." So I was like, "Yeah, thank you." And he said, "Does it really mean what you didn't intend to mean?" So I said, "What?" Like, "You are asshole." No, it's not what I intended. And then he's like, "Okay, it's good anyway." And then he just ran out. That's when I realized, oh my gosh, people read what's in their mind.
Never
I
mind.
thought about it.
Mataji, now we are curious. What does your number plate says?
It is URASOL.
So
And when I told this to the children, I was like, "Oh my gosh, we never thought of it."
I will also change the Mataji.
So this is going from spiritual world to the material world.
Completely. So I now let them decide what they want to read.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. When that soul is disconnected from Krishna, then it becomes that what he's thinking. But when the soul is actually connected or dovetailed in Krishna consciousness, then it becomes a pure spiritual soul. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Wonderful. All right. I think we'll conclude here for today. Thank you once again for your kind association. And we'll see you all again, hopefully today evening And if not, we'll have your association tomorrow morning. Japa. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णवृंद की जय। जगद्गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। शिला प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि
Hare
बोल।
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Have a
Hare
great day.
Krishna.